How's it hanging, YouTube? It's the Razman with another edition of the RazMansReality. Some of you may have noticed the new profile picture. Hopefully this one stays up. For some reason YouTube took down my last attempt at a profile picture. If this one goes down, then I'll know it has to do with team copyrights. But for those of you that know me personally, you already know, and this will be news to those of you that don't, I am an avid hat collector. Mostly sports. Matter of fact, all sports. I don't think I have a non-sports hat in my collection. And I mostly collect my favorite teams. And now my NFL collection is complete because I have two Bengals hats. One their championship hat from 2005 when they won the AFC North. And then, of course, their regular hat. And now, my NFL collection is complete because I have my second favorite team, as you can see right here and also from the title picture, the Tennessee Titans. So I want to personally give a big shout out to my dad's supplying company for supplying him with a free NFL hat for placing so many orders with said company. So that's what's going on with me today. Now, as far as what's going on in the world, well, let's quickly cover Monday Night Raw because it was a decent Raw. There wasn't much to write home about. Randy Orton versus Undertaker gets thrown out with interference from Legacy and then a save from Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon going coast to coast with the trash can on Ted DiBiase Jr., sending the message to Orton from No Way Out this Sunday. And then you had at the beginning of the show the return of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Chris Jericho confronts him. Ric Flair gives him a right hand, knocks him out of the ring, and that's where that left off. Where's this leading? Well, it's a bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want to know the spoiler, I'll give you a count backwards. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'll put that spoiler at the end of this report. That way, if you don't want to know it, you don't have to know. But I do think that this is leading somewhere, at least in the short term, for Ric Flair, and I'll explain that at the end of this report. The other big news involving Chris Jericho has nothing to do with the ring. As for those of you that haven't heard, Jericho was involved in an altercation with a fan. That's right, a fan at a WWE live show, Raw house show in Canada. A girl, nonetheless, gets punched by Chris Jericho. Now, if you haven't heard this story, you have reason to be appalled, yes, because you never, ever hit a woman, but the truth is the fan went after him first. She hit Jericho first and antagonized Jericho, and then Jericho retaliated. I'm going to use the emoticon editor, or however you pronounce that word, the editor that YouTube offers to add little bubbles to your video. I'm going to add a bubble to today's edition with the actual video link of the best fan encounter video right here on YouTube of this incident. And the reason it's the best is not only does it show the majority of the altercation between Jericho and said fan, but it also explains fully in the video description on the side the entire playback of the actual event. So again, before you criticize Chris Jericho, read the full story, because this girl was clearly drunk and was doing things she shouldn't have been doing. Did Chris Jericho take it too far by hitting said fan? Absolutely, especially since said fan is a female. And I look for Chris Jericho, hopefully, to receive some sort of punishment from WWE, probably after WrestleMania, though, as they do have some big plans for him, but I don't think this will go unnoticed. Of course, it could be swept under the rug because the whole JBL Nazi thing was swept under the rug when it happened. So, as well as the JBL Joey Styles thing. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But I can see both sides of the coin. Jericho was wrong, but the fan was wrong as well. So definitely be keeping an eye on that situation for all of you. And the other big story, of course, Alex Rodriguez, the New York Yankees third baseman, admits to utilizing steroids after being interviewed by CBS and Katie Couric a couple years ago, and adamantly denying that he's ever used steroids. This report came out that he tested positive for steroids in 2003 when they did some private testing before it became standardized and punishable. So rather than do the staunch denial like Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro have done, that's actually punished them in the long run as far as their status, he takes the road of his teammate Andy Pennant and actually comes forward and admits, yeah, I got caught and I regret my decision. So will that help or hurt A-Rod in the long run? I personally think it'll help him. Does it excuse what he did? Absolutely not. But I've said this on past hotlines. First time I'm going to say it right here on this YouTube version of my show, though. The best way to handle baseball's steroid situation, got a little tongue-tied there, and that can happen when you get on a roll. But the best way to handle baseball's steroid problem is to put an asterisk beside the last 15 to 20 years and say this was the steroid era in baseball, because it's going to be impossible to ever prove how many records were tainted by guys doing steroids, because there are so many names that we even yet to uncover. So what will the punishment be for A-Rod from Major League Baseball? We'll have to wait and see. With that, that's all the time I have for today. So here is the spoiler for where I think Ric Flair is going to go with this whole WWE angle. This is reality according to the RazMan, and RazMan style, it's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop listening now if you don't want to hear the spoiler. The spoiler is that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will be announced as the second inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. Ric Flair is slated to induct him, so I expect some sort of tag match with Chris Jericho and someone else against Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair for WrestleMania 25.